Welcome back. This is John Locke, and today I'm answering a question from a friend of mine. You know who you are. But this question is, does private registration on domains have an effect on SEO? Now, I think that where this question comes from, a lot of this person's clients ask them, you know, whether private registration has an effect on SEO, because several years back, that was a common belief in the SEO community, that private registration, where you hide the whois records, where you hide the administrative contact, basically hide the address, hide the name of the person or organization buying the domain, phone number, all that is like hidden. Years back, that was thought to have like a little bit of a ding on your SEO. Now, the reason why it was believed to do that years ago is partially because you want the records to kind of match up with the other corporate records, like the NAP citations. That was a thing that I think was a common belief, but just looking for consistency within the organization of who owns the domain, who owns the company and all that. The second reason why this used to be a thing that SEOs believed was, over time, people figured out how to do link manipulation and building private blog networks, which is essentially a huge network of sites. They might be real sites, they might be sites that were real at one point, they then were resurrected. But basically, these big link networks are essentially huge link wheels. They could be, you know, hundreds or even thousands of sites large. And these private blog networks exist, even today, for the express purpose of giving links that pass PageRank to client sites. So people basically spin up a whole network of sites to pass around PageRank and link equity, and then link out to random businesses that you know, have links from these sites to boost up the score. The problem with this was it is a link scheme in Google's eyes, and Google very much comes down on link schemes. In 2014, very famously, they said that they would basically rank, take all the power, all the ranking power out of PBNs, private blog networks. Now, a lot of private blog networks still do exist. They're more on the down low. Google does not always know, like, when they're looking at a private blog network. They still are out there. Now, back to the original question. Does private registration affect SEO? Now, PBN owners, people who own private blog networks, generally speaking, they're going to like make fake names, fake addresses, all that stuff. Whoever they say they are when they register a domain, that's not who they really are. So that doesn't really matter. A lot of affiliate marketers too would get a domain for a year or two, throw every kind of black hat tactic at it to make it rank, just to get affiliate commission from affiliate links, like Amazon affiliate links or whatever. And so private registration in the past was not a good thing. Or people thought it was just like a minor thing that might, you know, affect stuff. Now, what changed in the time since then? In about 3 years ago, I think, might have been 4, I don't know. I'm really bad with time. But Google became a domain registrar, meaning they can register domains just like GoDaddy or Hover or Namecheap or Network Solutions or any of these other ones that sell domains. They could sell domains to you. And the reason why they did that, a lot of people think, is so they could look at the whois records. Now, if you're a domain registrar, private registration doesn't matter. You can see the domain records if you're a domain registrar. And you can see the entire history of who's registered that domain, when it dropped, when it was picked up back again, who bought it, who re-registered it, all those things. Part of it, people theorize, is because they wanted to put the smash down on private blog networks. So private registration, really, no one's really talked about that in a while. So I think that is because Google can see private registrations now. They're a domain registrar like the other companies that I mentioned. Now to do that, I believe that you have to register with ICANN, ICANN. They are the international body that has governed domain names, top level domains like country domains, .com, net, org, all the different ones out there. And they're the ones that oversee all the laws and regulations and governing of the entire domain name system. Now they've been around since the 1980s, even before the internet, when the internet was still like DARPANET, ARPANET, the Defense and University Network, before it was the web. So I don't believe that domain name private registration, I don't believe that it's a positive or a negative effect anymore. The only thing that I would say is I know why people do private registration, mainly because they run their business from home and they don't want their address being published or their phone number. But for corporate entities, like bigger corporate entities, they have like a building, they have commercial space, or they, maybe they own a city block or whatever. They're big companies. Those will generally use their corporate address, and so they're not going to do private registration. It's usually like a smaller business that doesn't have a business address to send mail to or anything like that. So it's generally like their home address, and they want to keep it private. That's the only reason I can think of really to do private domain registration at this point. I don't think it has a positive or negative effect. Google still can see that privacy stuff. The only reason why you're buying privacy on your domain at this point is to shield it from other people who will do a whois lookup. One last thing to discuss. Some of that information, like before you would do like a whois lookup, like a whois on domain tools or one of these other services. Before it would just, you do the search and be like right there. Nowadays, and it might be because of GDPR, which is like the European Union law around privacy and information, making sure that there's a little bit more control on privacy of information, personal information. What I've noticed now is people have to like fill out a CAPTCHA or something like that to see that. So it's a little bit more tightly restricted, but people can still find that if it's publicly registered. I don't see any real upside to doing private. I don't see any real upside to doing public. There's no real up or downside. I think unless you're a home business, there's no real reason to do private domain registration. But I don't think it has any effect on SEO. I don't think it has any effect on NAP, like name, address, place, the consistency of information over different places on the web. I don't think it has anything to do with that at this point, mostly because Google can see it anyway. Hope that summarizes it. Thanks for asking this question. And if you have a question, leave it in the comments below. I'd be happy to answer it. My name's John Locke. My business is Lockdown Design and SEO. I'm here every single day answering SEO questions, giving SEO advice, mostly for the industrial and manufacturing space, but for whoever as well. And I would love to see you subscribe. We recently passed 212 subscribers. Hey, that's a good start. Numbers don't matter. If we had like 5 people here, I'd still be showing up. Come at you tomorrow. Don't know what I'm going to talk about yet, but I'll be here. See you later. Bye.